Hello, good morning. Can you hear me with the mic here, or am I going to need to? Good? Okay. Thanks for the opportunity to share this presentation with you today. As Julie mentioned, I work at BLM, the Grand Junction Field Office. I'm a weed specialist there, and our office covers about 1.2 million acres here in the Grand Junction area. We have a variety of upland ecosystems and 3 river systems in Colorado, Madison, and Dolores, all of which are pretty heavily impacted by invasive species. My job's kind of morphed over the last few years to where I'm spending a lot of time on the rivers. And that's the bulk of my talk today. These are different toys and techniques and stuff that you might be able to take home with you and use wherever you're from. That's my goal. I'm going to blaze through a bunch of slides, hopefully to give you some ideas. I'm going to begin my talk with a little bit of big picture weed management, because I'm a weed guy and I can't help but do that. But then we're going to zoom down in on to the riparian areas, and hopefully you might see something today that you want to try at home. You'll see in my talk that I like to tinker, I like to build things and try things. My partners in crime and I, if there's a will, there's a way. We'll try to find an easier way to do this. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and take this out so I can turn my head here. Is that going to work okay? Okay, first thing, no matter what, whether you're in the uplands or in the rivers, if you're going to go after bad character plants, you got to know what you have first. So inventory is always the first step. Saw a great presentation this morning on that project in Arizona. They got a great idea of what they had and where they had it. Especially in river systems, you got to take your time. It takes a while to crash through the willows and the brush and stuff, trying to find what it is that's out there. This particular trip was our crew looking for perennial peppermint on the Colorado River. 25-mile stretch. It took them 3 weeks to do that section. But it gave them a good picture. You want to look everywhere. You don't want things that are going to bite you later. If you didn't find them the first time. So it takes time, especially in the riparian area. In this day and age, I think everybody in the room recognizes the power of GIS and GPS. There's no reason not to use it. You can't remember everything, and it's just a phenomenal tool. They also put in good people, like my crew leader here, Casey, for 11 years. I never worked with a more passionate person when it came to this sort of work. So that combination is mighty, mighty powerful. The reason we do that is it gives us a permanent record. For example, with perennial peppermint on the Colorado River here west of town. If I kick the bucket, the record is still there. It's the days of the maps and the napkins and the drawer are long gone. So we need to use this tool. It also helps us when we go back later to do our treatments. It's a navigation aid. The perennial peppermint patches in a really worse state. So it's a super tool. A little bit of the big picture part of it. This is our field office represented by the shaded area. This was our inventory process. We spent 5 seasons, a couple people each season, looking at every nook and cranny of our office for noxious weeds, as well as on the rivers. We used several different tools. We put 20,000 miles on our ATVs, a lot of miles on horseback in the wilderness, and it gave us a good picture of what's above our rivers as well. It took a long time to do it. At the end, it gave us a really good picture of what we're dealing with. We found over 8,000 infestations of 17 species of noxious weeds in our office. And it seemed overwhelming, but again, going back to that GIS tool, it allows you to make a strategic plan for each of those species, what you're going to do and how you're going to deal with it over time, what you're going to ignore because you can't do it all. Especially for new invaders that are rare. some of these infestations represented on this map, we never would have known they were there unless we looked. And a lot of them were no bigger than the size of a table. Things like yellow star thistle or black kidney, things like that that you want to get after. So that's my big picture talk. We'll jump down to some treatment toys by land and by sea. Some of these are new to you, some of them won't be new, but hopefully we help. Nothing wrong with using the old back. This is the way we used to do it on the Colorado River. We would go down, we would steal a big tank from the fire shop and fill it up with river water and let that sediment settle out for a while, and then we would fill our backpack sprayers with buckets. Nothing wrong with that. Still a valid way to do things. This was a patch of Russian knapweed that we sprayed along the Colorado River, a big patch, really big patch. 350 backpack sprayer loads to treat that patch. You think that was fun? No. It was not. In fact, after that project, we said, and it gets harder to find volunteers, that kind of thing. But after that one, we said, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so, hence the birth of a weed raft. This raft is in the journal. It's on the poster out there. My partner in crime, Troy Schnurr, the riverman, he was in the back of the room there. Raise your hand, Troy. He and I, with the help of our riparian coordinator, our office, who got the grant, said, let's build a weed boat. Troy's job was to make sure it functioned as a boat. My job was to make sure it functioned as a weed sprayer. And so we put our heads together. We bought a stock raft and a frame and all that. We ripped it and promptly tore it to pieces, make it into a weed sprayer. This is the guts of that sprayer in the center of the boat. It has a 35-gallon tank. All our pumps and filters, and switches and battery. And that's where we store our product. It is all housed within a 75-gallon tub. So if we were to break a hose or spring a leak or something like that, it will stay contained within the boat. Once we did all of the metal work, we took it to my house and we plumbed it and we wired it up there. The whole boat, with 3 pumps and 2 electric hose reels, is powered by a single marine deep cycle battery that'll operate the boat for about a week before it needs to be recharged. We back up a little bit there. The whole package with an engine and a trailer, a new trailer, that's not the new trailer, but a new trailer, and a motor and a whole smash was about $22,000. Sometimes on long trips, we're doing a lot of product, we need extra water, so we built a little pump to draft out of the river through several filters to take out the bulk of the sediment and go through it. But it looks like it worked. The neat thing about this boat and other sprayers that we have, and part of the summer we have, are these hose reels. You can see the hoses are bent off in the bushes there. The neat thing is the applicator at the end of the hose pushes a button on the belt and it winds them back to the boat automatically without having to get the hose tank up in a brush or having to reverse. We did put a little bigger motor on it so that I could hold against the current better, but so we can ferry and we can hold. Once we're in, we're in. We can add an extra 300 feet of hose to the end of the 150 that's on there for the reels, and we can do long ways for the boat. It's really good for pulling up to the bank and jumping out with it, getting the patch of weeds, big or small. We do all the mixing right there on the boat over that tub. Not safe to carry stuff in down the slippery bank, so we do it right there on the boat. Like I said, there's a well, there's a way. This is on the Dolores River. The other side of the bank, the other side of the river, there's a big patch of knapweed. We couldn't launch the weed bill here. Didn't have a good place to do it. And I didn't want to backpack spray the other side, so Troy and I said, well, let's for this, and we put ATV and thread across. We've done this a few times. I get lots of eyebrows raised, especially from safety people. I see that. You know, it's no different than putting 3 or 4 fat guys in the boat. It's the same way. So, we actually, on this trip, we spread about 100 acres of seed with that ATV, which was a lot quicker than doing it by hand. Super useful tool, especially when you don't have the option of machinery. Is a good old chainsaw. Of course, you know what goes along with that is training and the safety aspect of that. We're doing a lot of work with those. I do recommend you don't wait till you're rushing out over this big to take them out with saws, but it'll still work. It's another authority nasty mess. My saw's actually stuck in there, but I don't usually save it. Okay, here's a tool that I really liked. It's what we're doing on the Dolores River. It's a small excavator with a mulching head on it right here. And the reason I really like this tool is because it's very surgical, very selective. You reach over the top of that little cottonwood or that shrub or whatever, take out the bad guys and leave the good ones. Every one that we don't destroy with the machine is one we don't have to plant. So I've really been happy with this tool down there. You can go back and forth across the river pretty easy. It's quick. So that kind of gives you an idea of what that machine can do, a before and after shot. And along a lot of our river systems, the tamarisk is just the tallest weed. So we took the tamarisk out with the excavator that exposed the Russian knapweed that's underneath it. And now we can treat the Russian knapweed and whatever else has been hiding in there too. Here's a 2-for-1 shot of the horses and our utility vehicle that we use. The horses they're a phenomenal tool when you got a really isolated place to go. They're a good tool. Unfortunately, that horse in the lead died of a heart attack, and we're down to 1 horse. Okay, what are some restoration toys? I want to talk about these because, you know, we know that it's about more than just killing things. It's trying to put the system back the way we'd like to have it. This is Troy and I's project to water little cottonwood trees down along the Colorado River. It's a drip system using pickle barrels we got at the farm store and a battery-powered programmable timer and a drip filter to water these little cottonwoods along the river. And it's worked pretty well to keep those little trees alive long enough for them to develop a root system that taps into the water table. This is a good slide too to show kind of the progression of work. This used to be a giant wall of large tamarisk with an understory of knapweed along the Colorado River. Over time, we have taken both of those species out. It's filling in with saltgrass and sand drop seed, and now we're working on adding that woody component back into it. Sometimes we bury the lines, sometimes we leave them on the surface, but the point is just by gravity, we can water these little trees, or you can water whatever you want. We refill the barrel with a little gas-powered pump, and depending on how many you water and for how long, you can get several weeks out of a barrel before you need to refill it. Now, we put a lot of effort into these little cottonwoods, and one of the issues we have is predation by the beaver. And so, since things are winding down a little bit on the other side of the world, we got a new toy for taking care of them. Haven't figured out a way to float that down the river yet. Here's one that I tried this year along the Dolores River. It's a little remote solar irrigation system that we built in my shop.
It's got a panel, small panel. It's got a timer, a battery, and then down there in a bucket in the river is a small bilge pump that you'd use for your boat, and it's a self-contained sort of little unit, and it worked pretty well. The timer would set it to do a little bit each night, and about the time that I got it working, we did a little testing in the backyard to see what the head was, what the flow was, and that kind of stuff. And about the time we got it working down there on the Dolores, somebody stole it. So if you see, this little system in the pawn shop, it's probably mine. We do some willow planting down there. We just harvest them locally, dormant poles. We put them in with a drill and a long bit. Drill it down to that capillary fringe. That's the basic components of it. The generator, the all-important GFCI, in case you fall into the river with an electric drill in your hand, and a core to drill and a bit. And you can plant several hundred willows a day using that technique. For bigger things, we saw an auger earlier. Here's another one mounted on a tractor, or here is a stinger mounted on that same excavator we mulch tamarisk with. It's just a solid steel rod that he can shove in the ground and wallow it out a little bit for planting dormant poles. I'm holding a highly technical piece of conduit in my hand right here that's graduated in feet so we could measure the water table. And they had a little scoop on the bottom for testing the soil at different depths, the EC of the soil or the water table. And we planted and we locally harvested some cottonwoods, both Fremont and narrow leaf, as well as some farm grown ones. It was really cold, as you can see when we did it, so they soaked in. Mechanized Reveg, you got a little bit of room, you can use a little drill like this in your area to put some seed back in the ground, or you can do it on a little scale. I really like this little disc behind my ATV. It'll scratch the ground up. I can take it up and down the road and put seed out, and then use this tool to pack and cover the seed in a little Cultipacker. Pretty neat little tool for small areas where you can't get big equipment. Sometimes we don't have to look very far for seed, and last year, 2011, was a bumper crop of seed, especially four-winged saltbush. And so we just collected hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of four-wing right there and distributed it out on some of our work units. I figure if it works in nature, it'll probably work for us if we just fling it on the ground. Four-wing is actually one of those things that broadcasts seeds really well. Okay, that's it. I know I was running up on time. I'm around, so if you got any questions or whatever, I'm be happy to answer those. Thanks.